Okay. To dry it.
Yeah, it's dry. Just
All right. Get started. All right. Anachari Raha Kunjabi Yadu Jaya Kunjabi Yadu
Yamuna Tira Panachari Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Kunja Bihari
Madhuva Jaya Kunjabi Yadu
Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari
Jai Om Vishnu Pad Paramahamsa Paramahansa Altastotela Sitashi Shimad His Divine Grace Abhaya Chananada Bhaktivedanta Goswami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Namacharya Shilahuidas Thakur Ki Jai Parem Se Kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shidway Gadadha Shiva Siddhi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Shri Shri Radhakrishna Gopi Gopinath Sayam Kunda Radhakunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Vrindavanam Ki Jai Maturadam Ki Jai Jagannath Swami Ki Jai Munamai Ki Jai Shimati Tulasi Devi Ki Jai Samvira Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Gaur Premananda Hari Hari Bol. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories, all glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Putale Shrimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namani. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pachardi Nivishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Tejatani. So we're going to continue with our reading of the Jaiva Dharma by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. And so let's share the screen. Om Gana Timananda Shagananjana Shalakaya Chakshuna Meditam. Yena Tasmai Shigarve Namaha. I offer my respectful obeisances under the lotus feet of my spiritual master, His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, who so kindly opened my eyes with a torchlight of knowledge while I was blinded in the darkness of ignorance. So, let's share the screen for everybody. All right. Yeah. So we are in the middle of this conversation between Haridas Babaji and Nityananda Das, not Nityananda, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And Nityananda Das is a younger renunciate, and Haridas Babaji is very old. He's about 100 years old. So Nityananda Das is asking questions of Haridas Babaji. So, next question is, Nityananda Das said, how should one not desire respect for oneself? Interesting question. In the words, Maninam Anadena. So, Haridas said, one should not think proudly of oneself as a Brahmin, a wealthy person, a scholar, a Vaishnava, or renunciate, I mean a sannyasi. One should show that respect to others. One should not desire worship from others because of having such an identity. One should think of oneself as lower than a blade of grass, worthless person, miserable and deficient. I actually read that part yesterday. So it means, so rather than getting into the negatives here, I'm miserable, I'm worthless, deficient, one should think I'm a servant of a servant of a servant of the Lord, who maintains the gopis in Vrindavan. So that's a positive way to look at it. In other words, I'm a servant of everybody. So Nityananda Das said, it seems from this that one cannot be a Vaishnava if one does not have humility and compassion. And Haridas said, that is true. Wow. So, that leaves me out. So, Nityananda Das said, does Bhakti Devi then depend on humility and compassion? It's an interesting question. Haridas said, his answer, Bhakti is not dependent on anything else. Bhakti by itself is beauty and ornament. In other words, all the secondary qualities arise when one has bhakti. As the Bhagavatam states, Yasyasti bhakti bhagavatsa kinchana savargunas tatra samasate sura arav bhaktasha kato mahadguna manoratena sati davatobahi. One who actually is a devotee has all good qualities. It does not depend on good qualities. Humility and compassion are not separate qualities. In other words, if you want to be humble, you want to be compassionate, it has to be connected with bhakti. In other words, I'm doing this out of love for Krishna. It has to be included within the softness of the heart. They're included within bhakti. I am a worthless servant of Krishna. I am nothing. Krishna is everything to me. This manifestation of bhakti is humility. A tender affection for Krishna is bhakti. It means a very sweet, tender, soft affection. Having tender affection for other jivas who are also servants of Krishna is called compassion. Thus, compassion is included within bhakti for Krishna. Why is that? Because everyone is part and parcel of Krishna. Like if you love someone, like Prabhupada said, you'll love their dog. And of course, the way you show your love for the person is by loving the dog. Or the child. You know, let's say you really want to show your love. Okay, let's say I want to show my love for Navadweep. Okay, where's Navadweep?
Here.
Okay,
He's cooking.
he's cooking. Then I'll say, so Kana and Radha, wow, they're so wonderful. So he appreciates that more than I say, you are wonderful. If I say, Kana, he's the most intelligent person I've ever met.
So proud.
And Radha is extremely intelligent and perceptive. The other night, you know, she saw me acting in a certain way. She said, Gurudev is the most mature person in this conversation. So she's heard. So, anyway, so because I paid attention, I praised the children. Wow, what a nice guru. But if I praise him, it's okay, you know. Gurudev's just trying to bribe me. So anyway. I should use this example. So if I come here in this house and I go to the dog and say, what a nice dog. Sorry about this. The mean will think, what a nice guru he is. Like Prabhupada said, if you love someone's dog, the person will love him. Anyway, that may not work in this particular case. So,
Why the dog?
what?
Why the dog?
Why the dog?
Why the dog?
Buy the dog.
Is he the dog?
Oh, you're the dog. No, you're not a dog. You're actually a great Vaishnava. You and your sister are great Vaishnavas. Now he likes me. So anyway, so it's interesting. So it goes in both directions. If you love Krishna, then you'll love all living entities. And if you show love for the living entities, Krishna will be very pleased. And you get the reciprocation of love from Krishna. So they're both connected. But the point is, compassion should not be disconnected from the connection with Krishna. Because if the compassion, anyway, if the compassion we show or the kindness we show to living entities is not connected with bhakti, it's mundane. It's completely mundane. It's like giving a homeless person a donation for a cup of coffee. Anyway, forgiveness is the bhava situated between compassion and humility. Wow. Interesting expression. Forgiveness is the bhava situated between compassion and humility. Remember that. Forgiveness. And forgiveness is the ornament of a Vaishnava. compassion, humility. I am low. How can I punish another person? Or as they say, it was in Christian saying, but for the grace of God, there go I. You ever heard that expression before? But for the grace of God. In other words, I could easily be in that same situation. But I'm not. So how can I punish? If I was in the same situation, I would have acted worse. That's how one should think. So that's actually very interesting based upon interactions. Forgiveness is the bhava situated between compassion and humility. I'm low. How can I punish another person? I deserve to be punished. This is another interesting thing. That one time, when I was a brahmachari, many years ago, I was with a sannyasi, and the sannyasi chastised me. And I said, I didn't do it. And he said, you deserve it to be punished. Why? Because you're walking around a material body, which is a sign of your rascaldom. This is like the sign that we're rascals, just having a material body. Anyway.
What did you say?
You've got a material body too.
You got a material body. So you deserve to be punished too. Oh, okay. That's a good answer. I remember that next time.
You told us, did you say?
Yeah, I know. That is really how one should answer. How can... When this attitude combines with compassion, it becomes forgiveness. Yeah, because, I might do the same thing. That's called, in empathic communication, that's called role-playing. You put yourself in the other person's shoes, so to speak.
Yeah.
And you say, if I was in the same situation, subject to the same same stresses the other person has to experience, I might do the same thing. So if I get angry with that person, then actually I'm culpable. Forgiveness is included within bhakti. Krishna is real. The jiva is real. The jiva's being a servant of Krishna is real. The jiva dwelling in the material world is real. Tell me all about it. Thus, bhakti is real because bhakti is the emotional relationship between Krishna and the jiva. The reality of bhakti, humility, compassion, and forgiveness are 4 special states. Wow. Included in bhakti. The reality of bhakti, our relationship with Krishna, humility, compassion for others, yastu sarvani bhutani atmane vanapashati sarvabhuteshu chatmanam tato navigupshati. That's from the Upanishad. One should see everyone connected to Krishna and one should not hate anyone or anything. Forgiveness, 4 special states including bhakti. Here's another interesting point. Nityananda Das said, how should a Vaishnava interact with persons of other religions? Haridas said, Bhagavatam says, Narayana kalakshanta vashanti yana suyavaha. The devotees without envy worship Vishnu and his expansions, Bhagavatam 1:2-26. There is no dharma except Vaishnava Dharma. Whatever dharmas have been spread in the world or which will be spread in the world are all steps towards Vaishnava Dharma, or are distortions of it. One should respect them suitably if they are steps. If they are distortions, without envy, one should study one's own bhakti tattva. For example, certain religions are nihilistic. Nihilistic means basically you annihilate everything. Voidism, shunyavadi. So that's a distortion. Or impersonalistic, in which they think everything is Brahman. Nihilistic means basically you think everything is nothing. Everything is nothing. That's interesting. And impersonalistic. These are distortions of bhakti. So we just study our own bhakti tattva. One should not show violence towards other paths. Without a doubt, these people will become Vaishnavas at some auspicious moment. That is a path in which is a step towards Vaishnavism. Nityananda Das says, is it necessary to preach Vaishnava Dharma? Haridas said, it is very necessary. Our Mahaprabhu gave that responsibility to everyone. Nacho gal bhakti sange kara sankirtana Krishna nama upadeshi tara savajana. Dance and sing with the devotees. Perform sankirtan. Teach the name of Krishna and deliver all the people. That's from the CC Adi Leela 792. Atayevami agyadila savakare yaha taha prema pala dehayare tare. Therefore, I order everyone to give the fruit of prema to all people wherever they go. This is Lord Chaitanya's instruction to all of you. CC Adi Leela 936. Keep in mind that one should give instructions on the name to qualified persons. These statements do not apply when one should show indifference to the person, that is, malicious persons. Preaching to them will create obstacles. In other words, people who are innocent. Remember, we're supposed to be Majjamadhikaris, like we talked about. Majjamadhikari makes friends with the devotees, preaches to the innocent, and avoids the envious and malicious people. And he worships Krishna. So if you preach to people, if you try to preach to people who are inimical, it will create obstacles in their spiritual path and obstacles in your spiritual path. So be really careful. So know when to keep your mouth shut. Discretion is the better part of valor, Prabhupada said. Hearing the sweet words of Haridas Babaji, Nityananda Das became choked with prema. All the gathered Vaishnavas shouted the name of the Lord. All offered respects to Haridas Babaji. That day's gathering and the solitary bower ended. Everyone returned to their places. That's the end of the chapter. Nice, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. So here's chapter 9. Nitya Dharma and material science and civility. Civility means, acting properly in society. You should be civil. Like if someone acts in a nasty way, he's uncivil. So, by living in Godruma in the association of Vaishnavas for 3 or 4 years, Lahiri became purified in his heart. Remember Lahiri from the previous chapters? He had taken association of Vaishnava Das Babaji. And he came from a Brahminical family. He was very good at hearing and chanting, especially kirtan. He wrote songs and everything like that about Lord Chaitanya. So he was always chanting the name while eating or sitting. In other words, Hare Krishna, eating, and then all day long. That's how we should be. Then there's no room for other things, for criticism of Vaishnavas or prajalpa. He wore ordinary clothing. He did not wear wooden shoes or sandals. He was not proud of his birth. That's very interesting. Wooden shoes. Sometimes devotees, I'm not saying everybody wears wooden shoes, they put on these wooden shoes with a little peg in them. You seen that? And they show off. I'm wearing wooden shoes. I mean, one of my disciples was doing that. They said, why don't you just wear regular shoes? They're so uncomfortable. It's like the outfit. For many people, not everyone, it's like an outfit that you're showing off, like the lady's sari, the newest sari, right? That you're, gold trim sari. So the men, they have to have their different items of dress.
Shoes.
Yeah, wooden shoes, or the latest watch, or something like that. But, anyway, so it's kind of funny. So it says he did not wear wooden shoes, because the wooden shoes would be a sign of false prestige. I'm a renunciate, I'm wearing these wooden shoes, just look at me. I mean, sometimes bona fide renunciates do wear wooden shoes. Lord Chaitanya had wooden shoes, and you could see them in the Gambhira in Jagannath Puri. He was not proud of his birth. Just on seeing him, the Vaishnavas offered respects and took the dust from his feet by force. So this is how much love of the Vaishnavas had. They would just grab each other's feet. Not grab them. Anyway, touch each other. Grab is a different thing. You don't want to grab anyone's foot, right, kind of? They might fall down, you know. Probably not, no. It's not nice. But you touch their feet. He would seek out and eat the remnants of pure Vaishnava's food. His son sometimes visited, but understanding his mood, they fled. Fled means ran away, not just they left. They said, Dad is just finished. And could not propose that he return home. Remember his two sons who tried to drag him away in the previous chapters? And they employed the Brahmanas to try to defeat the Vaishnavas. On seeing Lahiri, it appeared that he was a renounced Babaji. Understanding the conclusions of the Vaishnavas at Godruma, he fixed his mind on detachment in his heart as the goal. Taking Babaji was not necessary. With the intention of restricting his needs like Sanatana Goswami, he tore one piece of cloth into 4. Wow. Instead of having a longer dhoti, he just tore it and had a shorter dhoti. Wow. And not only that, it was torn. And when you tear, it doesn't have a seam on it or anything. It's just like frayed at the end. So he's dressing around in a way that people would just make fun of him. Even now, he had the sacred thread around his neck. His sons wanted to give him some money, but he said, I will not accept a materialist's money. They were his sons. Sons were just thinking, let me help my dear dad. Because that's reminiscent of Raghunath Das Goswami, who was offered money by his father and mother. And first he was accepting that money to serve Lord Chaitanya. You know the story in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Then after some time, he didn't invite Lord Chaitanya over to his place. Can't say it was a house, hut or whatever it was. And Lord Chaitanya asked Swarup Damodar Goswami, why doesn't he invite me anymore? And Swarup Damodar Goswami said he understood that if you take money from a materialist and you use in your personal service, then your mind becomes contaminated. Of course, you can use it, you can give it to the temple or something like that, but if you use it in your personal service, that's another thing from a materialist. I will not, so anyway, accept a materialist money. Since there would be expenses at a festival, Chandrasekhar once brought 100 coins. But Lahiri, here's the thing about Raghunath Das Goswami, remembering the character of Dasa Goswami, that's Raghunath Das Goswami, refused to accept the money. One day, Paramahamsa Babaji said, oh, Lahiri, there's not an element of non-Vaishnavism in you. That is, you are now a real devotee. I've accepted Babaji and can teach you renunciation. If you have a Vaishnava name, everything will be complete. In other words, you're saying it's time for initiation. You didn't take the disciple course or have to give any donations to the temple to get the recommendations, but still give the initiation. Here he said, you are the guru, my guru. Do as you wish. Paramahamsa Babaji said, since your residence was Shantipur, I call you a Dvaita Das. So here's his initiation. No fire sacrifice.
Just like that.
Yeah, just like that. The same way Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur took sannyas. Same way. And he got initiation. No fire sacrifice. Gorgashodas Babaji Maharaj just handed him, not beads. Gorgashodas Babaji Maharaj would chant on like some knots in a cloth. And he initiated, and he gave him the mantra, the Gayatri mantras too. So, no fire sacrifice. So the fire sacrifice is simply, it helps one fix one's mind on one's determination of one's vows. But the essential item is actually the Guru's mercy. So Paramahamsa, so you're Advaita Das. So Lahiri offered respects on the ground and accepted the name as mercy. From that day, everyone called him Advaita Das. Everyone called his bhajan kutir Advaita Kutira. Advaita Das had a child. Here's some more story. This is an interesting story too. Advaita Das had a childhood friend called Digambara Chattopadhyaya. It's a Brahmin name. Performing important service for the Muslim king, that is Advaita Das's friend, he had gained respect and wealth. When he grew old, he retired and returned to his birthplace, Ambika, and began searching for Kalidas Lahiri, his friend. He said, "Where's my friend?" And he heard his friend join the Hare Krishna movement. It's just like sometimes there's this website, different websites where you could look up your old college mates.
Yeah.
You have that here?
Alumni.
Find my friend or something.
And also high school mates and everything like that. And you look at your yearbook. I was just looking at my yearbook from the year, 1426. I look at my picture, and the picture of all my mates and thinking, where are they now? Maybe I should contact them. They're all in Maya. Or dead. So he, isn't it? Actually, one of my friends from high school is a big lawyer somewhere. Anyway, but people, I find that people are looking at my bio and everything like that, and say, "Oh, it became a Hare Krishna. It's too bad,
He's missing out.
He could have had everything, and now." So this is what this friend, Chattopadhyaya, is going to think about Lahiri, or Advaita Das. He heard that Lahiri had given up his house, and as Advaita Das was chanting the holy name in Godrama. Digambara was a fanatical worshipper of Durga. He would plug his ears on hearing the name of a Vaishnava. Kana. That's funny. Hearing that his closest friend had become so fallen, because from a materialist perspective, we're fallen. We don't drink. We don't smoke. What else do we do? We don't gamble. We don't eat nice food, like flesh and blood and pus. We don't eat those things. Yuck. Can you imagine? Would you like some blood on your food? They call it juice.
Yeah.
They call it juice.
Yeah.
Would you like some juice? And actually it's red,
Yeah.
Like if it hurts yourself, blood comes out. It's like some blood. It's like some Dracula movie. I don't know if you know who Dracula is. Yeah. Dracula was someone who used to suck blood. You heard of him? He would go to people, go to their neck, and go. And so people eat meat. It's like Dracula. So anyway, hearing that his closest friend had become fallen, he said, "Oh, Vamanadas, hire a boat and take me quickly to Navadvip. I will save my unfortunate friend Kalidas." So he's thinking, I have to save him. Preach to him. I had that happen to me sometimes. That people came to try to save me. Save him. He's spoiled. He could have been a physicist. He could have designed bridges. Could have become a doctor, a lawyer. Look. And even when I was 60 some odd years old, my mother was still alive, she said, "There's still time for you to go back to school." 60, you can't imagine, becoming a doctor by the time I was 75, and then nobody would want me to operate on them because I'm too old. What's this old guy doing? So the servant, Vaman Das, immediately arranged a boat and reported to his master. See, these people have servants, personal servants. In India, it's actually quite cheap to have a servant. You know, you go into someone's house, even a middle-class person, and there's always these, "You going?
Yes, good.
Oh, that's sad.
Thank you for everything.
Okay, we'll see you soon." So, you go into people's houses, and many times they treat their servants like dogs, basically. You know, I've gone to people's houses, and I just feel so sorry for them. Sorry, because they're getting paid so little. So, so anyway, so Digyambara was skillful and learned in the Tantra scriptures. Tantra means left-handed, you know, stuff like voodoo. Ooh. So he was learned in that. He was skillful in the refined mannerisms of Muslims. He defeated Muslim scholars in Persian and Arabic. So he was an educated guy, you know, he's not just some dumb person. Brahmin scholars would not speak with him when debating tantric scriptures. In other words, he would always defeat them. He had gained fame in big cities like Delhi and Lucknow. He had written a book called Tantra Sangraha, and he showed his great learning by quoting many verses in the commentary. He boarded the boat with heroic flair along with his book. He's very dramatic here. In 2 praharas, the boat arrived at Godruma. Remaining in the boat, he sent an intelligent man to Advaita Das after giving him instructions. Advaita Das was sitting in his hut chanting, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. The man sent by Digyambara approached him and offered respects. Advaita Das asked, "Who are you? Why have you come?" The man said, "I have been sent by Digyambara Chattopadhyaya." You know, you give the whole title like that. He is asking if you remember him or not. Advaita Das said, "Where is he? He is a childhood friend. How could I forget him? Has he now taken shelter of Vaishnava Dharma?" The man said, "He's in the boat in the Ghat. I do not know if he has become a Vaishnava." You know, it's a lie. Advaita Das said, "Why is he at the Ghat? Why does he not come to my hut?" Hearing this, the man departed. After 2 dandas. Chattopadhyaya arrived at the hut with several gentlemen. Digyambara was generous, hard-hearted for a long time. Anyway, hard-hearted for a long time. Seeing his old friend after many days, Digyambara sang a song he had written and embraced Advaita Das. Now, this song shows that he's actually a worshiper of Durga. O Kali, who in the 3 worlds understands your pastimes? Sometimes you are a man, sometimes a woman, and sometimes ferocious on the battlefield. Now listen to the impersonalism. Becoming Brahma, you create the universe. Becoming Shiva, you destroy the world. Becoming Vishnu, and pervading it, you maintain all people. So he's seen Durga as everything. But you'll see later on, he has an improper relationship with Durga. You're going to hear some of the things. Becoming Krishna, you play the flute in the forest of Vrindavan. Becoming Gauranga, you enchant everyone with Sankirtan. What nonsense, isn't it? I mean, the guy should be killed. Advaita Das said, "Oh, brother, come." Digyambara. Digyambara. Yeah, I better take a little water. It actually comes from being tired. Digyambara sat on a leaf seat, and with tears in his eyes, showing affection, he said, "O Kalidas, where will I go? You will become a renunciate without interest in the Devatas or Dharma." In other words, you're not interested in the demigods or real Dharma. I came from Punjab with great hope. Our childhood friends, Pesha Pagla, Kendra Gish Gadisha, Ishe Pagla, Dana Mayara, Katie Chu Tora, Kunti Bhattacharya have all died. Now there's only you and me. Really sentimental, isn't it? You're my good friend. We were childhood friends together. Look what you've done. Come and join me. I thought that one day I would cross the Ganga and meet you at Shantipur, and you would cross the Ganga and come to Ambika to see me. In our remaining days, we would sing together and pass our time studying Tantra scriptures. Left-handed Tantra, like voodoo, or worship of Durga. But fate has struck. You have now become a pile of cow dung. Can you imagine saying that to your friend? Join the Hare Krishna movement. You now become a pile of cow dung. This is not useful in this life or the next. What has happened to you? Advaita Das saw that he had met with tough association. By some means, he should escape his friend's hand. He said to Gyambara, do you not remember? One week in Ambika while playing Danda Guli, some sort of game. What type of game is that?
Gilli danda.
What?
The stick and then.
Yeah, I know Danda's a stick, but what do you do with it?
You dig a hole in the ground, you put a little stick there, and then you flip it, and then you measure the
Poor
distance.
man's cricket guru there.
Oh, how far it goes. You measure how
Yeah,
far.
how far it
It's
goes.
poor man's cricket. That's what we used before we used to play guru.
I learned something new
There's no
today.
bat and ball, there's two sticks.
It's a piece of wood where the two ends are sort of thinned out.
Yeah.
So you strike on one corner, so it will sort of
Flip.
flip, and then while it is
You hit
in
it.
the air, then you hit it
Hit it.
hard.
And whoever hits it the furthest wins, right?
Yeah, and then you count the...
Yeah,
On the
yeah,
number
you
of-
have to then, this is a complex game, but it's
complex.
Yeah.
PhD in it.
Poor
You
man's
have, to,
baseball.
you have to count how many times it flips or something?
Now you have to count how far the
How
stick
far?
went.
you
That's what I
flip the
mean.
little
Yeah,
stick.
yeah, with the danda.
Oh, you use the danda.
Yeah.
There's the
Another
yardstick.
stick.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the yardstick. How many times?
Yeah, how many times? So this went like 20 sticks. For
Yes, that's right.
That's not PhD. So
Few variations.
it's pretty easy.
No, physicist, of course.
That's the easiest thing. Yeah. I would just use a laser measure. You know what that is? Like the surveyors have.
Yes, yes, yes.
Why did they just use that?
Why don't they use that? Poor man's cricket.
You can always have to measure.
We never had a bat and ball. We used to.
Yambara said, yes, I remember. Gauridas Pandit's house was nearby. Gauridas Pandit was a great devotee of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Very, very great devotee. He was a coward boy in Krishna Lila. Below the tamarind tree, Gaur and Nitai used to sit. So in other words, this is why they got spiritual benefit. Advaita got spiritual benefit. Advaita Das said, while playing, you said that we should not touch the tree. And Sachi's son had sat there. That's Lord Chaitanya. By touching the tree, we would become renunciates. Digyambara said, I remember, seeing that you had a fondness for Vaishnavas, I said that you would fall into Gauranga's trap. So even if you touch a tree that was associated with Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, you become a devotee. Advaita Das said, brother, that has been my nature for a long time. At that time I was about to fall in the trap. Now I have fallen in the trap. Digyambara said, take my hand and get out. It is not good to stay in the trap. Advaita said, having fallen in, I'm very happy. I pray to remain here for a long time. You should touch the trap and see. Such a conversation. Digyambara said, I've seen it. It is temporary happiness, but in the end it is false. Advaita Das said, will you obtain great happiness in the end, dwelling in your own trap? I think you will not. Digyambara said, I am the attendant of Mahavidya, that means great knowledge. I am happy now and will be happy later. You think you are happy now, but I don't see any happiness in you. Finally, you have to no end to suffering. I cannot say why anyone would become a Vaishnava. Look, I am happy eating fish and meat. Wow, sounds good. I wear fine clothing. I'm more civilized than you. I've attained all the happiness that material science offers. I have a mobile phone. No, I'm just saying this. You are cheated of this. In the end, you will not be delivered. Advaita Das said, why is that? Why will I not get delivered? Digyambara said, if one is adverse to the mother who gives deliverance, Mother Nishtadani, of course that's Durga, even Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva cannot be delivered. The mother is the Adya Shakti. We know that Radharani is the Adi Shakti. She gives birth to Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. She maintains them. What a philosophy. This is Tantra here. She maintains them by her Karya Shakti. When she desires destruction, everyone enters her expansive womb. Have you worshipped the mother to gain her mercy? This is really heavy stuff. Advaita Das said, is Mother Nishtarini conscious or unconscious? Digyambara said, she is conscious and full of intention. By her desire, the Purusha manifests. Advaita Das says, what is Purusha and what is Prakriti? And that's the same questions are asked in the Gita. Digyambara said, the Vaishnavas only perform worship. They have no philosophy. Purusha and Prakriti are one. In other words, everything is one. Although they are two parts like a chickpea. If you peel the skin, there are two parts. If you cover the parts with the skin, there's one entity. Purusha is conscious and Prakriti is unconscious. The two are undifferentiated state. The two in the undifferentiated state are Brahman. And here's an interesting. Is your mother, Advaita Das says, is your mother, that is Mother Nishtarini, is your mother Prakriti or Purusha? It's Durga. And Digyambara said, sometimes she is Purusha male and sometimes female. I mean, really wild philosophy. Advaita Das said, Purusha and Prakriti are two parts covered by skin. Which part is the mother and which part is the father? Digyambara said, you were asking a philosophical question? Good, I know philosophy well. Actually, the mother is Prakriti and the father is consciousness. It doesn't even make sense. Advaita Das said, and who are you? Digyambara said, bound by the ropes, one is Jiva, and freed from the ropes, then one becomes Sadashiva.
Where's this coming from?
It's becoming more weird, the whole discussion.
This is tantric. What's that?
This is tantric.
Yeah.
This is tantric.
It's made up philosophy.
No, it's really
Making
polluted.
stuff up.
Advaita Das said, are you Purusha or Prakriti? Now here's where it gets really weird. Digyambara said, I am Purusha, the mother's Prakriti. When I am bound, she's the mother. When I'm liberated, she is my wife.
Oh my God.
Crazy.
She's some sick stuff, man.
Oh my God. I've understood your philosophy. There's no longer any doubt. Where did you receive all this philosophy? Digyambara said, brother, you simply wander about saying Vaishnava, Vaishnava. I am not like that. Associating with many sannyasis, brahmacharis, tantrikas, and siddhas, studying tantra scriptures day and night, I have attained this knowledge. If you want, I can train you also. Train you up also. Advaita Das said, thinking what a misfortune this was, let me understand one thing. What is civilization? And what is material science? Oh, actually, we have to end now. So, sorry about
We have to
this.
end.
Not end.
So, it's
Oh, very nice, Gurudev.
This section is quite humorous, isn't
yeah,
it?
it is.
It's really interesting.
Oh,
Sorry, we have to take and to take questions from our. We can allow people to unmute. Okay, so does anyone here have a question? Yes. Go ahead.
So, in Krishna conscious, well, like us, we're not allowed to eat egg, right?
That's right.
And but don't people like use this sort of thing to look in the egg to see if it's a possible life source or not.
Yeah, actually, what he's saying, okay, to translate for everybody, it's called candling, is the technical word. You heard that word before?
No.
I know because my uncle had an egg farm, and it smelled bad. And so, originally they didn't have, electric lights, so they put a candle.
Serious life.
Has anyone ever heard that term before? You've heard that term. Probably in India they use the same term when one has eggs. So they put a candle to see if there's an embryo. You know what an embryo is, right? Baby chicken. And if there's an embryo, then they basically don't sell the egg. Because people get really disgusted if they open an egg to cook and a little baby chicken pops out. Well, it's yuck anyway, even if there isn't a baby chicken. So, basically, your question is, if there is not a baby chicken inside, why can't we eat it? Is that your question?
Well, that's the question.
I mean, I don't want to
Kids
eat
ask
it.
in
I
school.
Why
just
can't
want
people
to
eat
know.
it? Why can't people
That's
eat
the
it?
question kids in school ask.
Yeah. Well, this main reason is it's so damn disgusting. It's like the bodily fluids, without getting more scatological, describing it's a bodily fluid of the chicken. And, it has to do with, the birth. It's like the bodily fluids of someone's womb. But with chickens, the womb is outside. You understand? There's certain animals that the child actually the embryo grows up inside the womb, but in certain animals, the animal grows up, or the chicken or bird, whatever, grows up inside an egg, and to keep it warm, the mother has to sit on it. Did you know that? Otherwise, or people have to take it and put it into something called an incubator. Incubator keeps it warm. But it's the same thing as what goes on inside someone's body. So if you take the disgusting stuff that goes on inside our bodies and you put it in a little container, that's an egg.
So it's a stillborn chicken.
Oh, okay, that is gross.
No, even if it's not a stillborn chicken, if it's not fertilized, it's still bodily fluid.
Is it?
Pus and
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
fertilized,
it's
yeah.
bodily fluid.
Oh.
It's bodily fluid. Any of the fluid from the body. I mean, you have different types of fluid from the body, like you have blood, you have pus, you have sometimes clear liquid comes out. Yuck.
so question get asked about the soul. Because if there's no
No, there's no soul in there.
there's
So you're not really killing anything or killing anyone at that particular point. But at the same time, it's so disgusting. You can't offer it to Krishna, and no, let's say, sensitive person would actually want to eat it. And what does Biko offer it to Krishna? Another point is, when they have these chicken farms, in order to produce these eggs that are not fertilized, they keep the chickens so close. It's a very cruel thing. Called a battery farm. They can keep them so close together, the chickens go crazy, and sometimes they start eating each other because they're so close and it's so smelly. My uncle had a chicken farm, egg farm, and it was just I couldn't go near the place. It was so disgusting. So for many different reasons, main reason it's not offerable to Krishna, and then another reason it's really bad for your health. It has a lot of cholesterol in it and clogs your arteries. And then you have to get bypass surgery. You know what bypass surgery is?
think about the word before you answer.
Oh, blood.
No.
That means when your arteries, they carry the blood, and the veins that carry the blood become stuffed up, become smaller and smaller and smaller because the eggs are making them smaller and smaller and smaller. Then they have to stick what's called the stent inside.
To lift it up.
They put the stent in through your leg.
Oh. Ow.
Oh, big
And bypass surgery is something different. That means when I watched a bypass surgery one time.
Coronary.
They go,
Coronary.
yeah, coronary bypass. They actually slice open your chest,
Take your heart out.
open the chest bones,
And then just
get into the heart, attach you to a heart and lung machine.
Yeah.
you catheters.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Don't remind me. My father had it and he actually passed away after it, so. Because he didn't take his blood thinner. So, you know, clot had a
Yeah,
clot.
yeah,
or
yeah.
something like that. So, don't eat eggs. You agree?
But milk is different, although it is also from body, so to speak.
Yeah, yeah.
It's different, right?
Well,
Yeah. Sometimes.
yeah,
it
it's
is
not a
also-
disgusting bodily fluid.
No.
You know, milk is actually, you know, milk is nice.
Yeah.
You don't, you know, anyway, it's not something that's usually thrown away.
Yeah, it's not discarded.
You discard certain bodily fluids. Yeah.
It's just to-
I don't want to get too
yeah.
too specific about bodily fluids. It's kind of disgusting for class. So who else has a question? That's a good question, Kana. Any other questions?
I had a
Yeah.
question just on that in the class when Advaita Das was talking about not accepting money from materialists from his sons.
Yeah.
What does that actually mean? Because what's a materialist in that sense? Somebody who's not like following the four regulated principles, or somebody who's just not,
Someone who really,
conscious.
someone who's not innocent, someone who wants you to leave your spiritual life, someone who's intention, and someone who is just an abject materialist. You know, so of course in business you are these are rules for renunciates. You know, I should not be accepting money from materialists and use for myself. If I use for some Krishna conscious purpose, in other words, I shouldn't.
Yeah.
Someone gives me money, a materialist gives me money for a Tesla or something like that. I shouldn't do it.
Shouldn't do it,
Brother gave me money for this. Anyways, anyway, but we're using it in Krishna's service. We're actually not the same type of renunciates that Raghunath S. Goswami was. We're actually Parvajacharya. So we're Yuktavide Ranga, using everything in Krishna's service. So Prabhupada would often take things from materialists and use in Krishna's service. But Raghunath Das Goswami, he was a Babaji, and it wasn't his service to travel all around the world preaching to people. It's a little bit different. Okay?
Yeah. Thank you, Gurudev.
All right, see, let's see, do one question from our audience here. Please don't my base no voice. But what's the difference between meat and a dead animal?
Oh, I see. It's not killing the animal, but eating the flesh.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
It shows that and
yeah.
killing an animal.
Yeah.
You know. What if you just?
Yeah.
Ooh, what a question. Anyway, so meat is usually from a dead animal. you don't eat it while it's still alive. Of course, sometimes
Some
people do that.
Yes,
Sometimes
crazy people out there.
crazy people. Well, crazy people. Sometimes they eat. What is it? Clams or something like that. When they're still alive, they open them up and they pop them in their mouth. So that happens in Fiji sometimes.
Yes, yes.
So, what if you, the question, so let's try to make a question or another answer around that. What if the animal died naturally
Yeah.
and wasn't killed, it's not a slaughterhouse, but it's not offerable to Krishna? But Prabhupada said, if you want to eat meat, do it that way. Prabhupada did say that.
Yeah.
Not for devotees, not for us. Prabhupada said it's better if you really want to eat meat, the cow's going to die anyway. The chicken, or whatever it is going to die anyway. So wait until it dies a natural death. And don't kill it. But still, it's sinful because it's not offered to Krishna. Krishna says if you eat anything without offering to me, you can't offer meat to Krishna. So, therefore, don't do it. But another point is you're saying I didn't kill the animal. I just bought the animal at the supermarket.
Roadkill.
No. Here's another thing. I bought the animal at the supermarket.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Somebody.
I didn't kill,
Yeah.
but the Vedic literatures say that you're equally responsible if you kill the animal, transport the animal, serve the animal, or even condone the activity. Condoning means it's okay. Don't do that. When you're with your buddies, your mates, and they say, I'm going to eat meat. Don't use the word, hey, that's fine. I would just say, I understand. You understand? Because we don't want to create a bad relationship. So don't say, if someone says, I'm going to eat meat, I hope it's okay with you, then you say, I understand. I'd say, yeah, it's fine. Then you're culpable to a certain extent. So you really have to be careful about your nomenclature.
Such a fine line.
Yeah, such a fine line. Because if you say, that's okay, that's what you're saying. It's
That's
okay.
what I normally say, actually, yeah.
So that's not what's the best response then, Gurudev?
See health.
Best response is what I just said. I understand.
I understand that. So
Yeah.
Misunderstand.
Then, that's your choice,
I know, but-
and everybody has a right to their choice.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's the way to say it. Everybody has a right to their choice. We're all different. We all have rights to our choice.
Yeah.
It's not because by saying that's okay, you're saying I agree.
okay.
So that's condoning. The technical word is condoning.
Yeah,
Okay.
That's what you normally say.
I think we have to end. And for those of you watching, class, will there be class? Yeah, there'll be class tomorrow, but it will be 2 hours earlier.
Earlier.
Yeah, because New Zealand is 2 hours
That's right.
later.
Yeah.
So the class time will be 2 hours earlier everywhere else.
Yeah.
So it'll be 5 o'clock here,
Yep.
or it will be in America. It will be 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Because normally we do it at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. So, thank you all very much for watching, and we are on our way to New Zealand. Not right now.